It is a great joy and honor to come into your homes and your minds with a message of empowerment and enlightenment. This is Emmanuel Mensah, a co-founder of the Eagle Mentality Group. At the Eagle Mentality Group, we teach and propagate information about the power of thought, universal laws and principles, and how these laws and our thinking comes together to create our realities. All human beings are creating their realities, whether it is individuals or a collection of people called groups. It could be a race, a nation, or whatever. Once we all accept one line of thought as our belief and all dance to it, it becomes the controlling factor in the creation of our collective life circumstances. In the same way, as an individual, what you hold as your beliefs becomes the controlling factor of your line of thinking, and that also goes along to create your realities with the help of the laws in the universe. And so this is a universal truth that we got to understand. And as I've always been stating, you don't have to understand this, and you don't have even to agree with it for it to be true. For your ignorance or your knowledge about something or universal truths does not make a difference. Gravity existed long time before human beings started discovering it or knowing more about it. But that doesn't negate the fact that even the first man and woman that ever existed as our roots, right from that time, gravity was already working. And so that is it. You create your reality. If you are discovering it now, your ignorance in the past doesn't make it a false statement, but it is a reality. Anyway, that is just by the way. It is the way we introduce our conversation. Metaphysics or universal laws and principles are the backbone of whatever we are doing. And when we become awakened to the laws of the universe and apply principles in our lives, we will be able to create our lives in such a way that we will be deliberate creators and create life that we want. And so today I'm going to continue on the topic or speaking under the theme, the quest for uniform and sustainable development in Ghana and Africa in general. And today I'm going to speak to you on a topic that is not common, but I'm going to introduce it to you. And that is what we call emerging trends or new trends. How awaken are Africans to what we call emerging trends, or the fact that everything is evolving. The world we live in, nothing is at a standstill. Everything is changing. Everything is changing. And if you don't see this change in a physical way, maybe you will always see the same people, the same situation, but the fact is that it's changing. It's just that it's changing based on the definition you are giving to situations, you said. And so if we look into our existence as human beings, we've traveled through times and eras. And every time and era comes with its new or its what we call order of the day. We started as people or species living in caves and under trees. Our evolution went up to a point that the cave and the trees were no longer suitable for human beings. And therefore, that forced us to think. And with the forces in the universe, we started developing overground houses. And so we started with rudimentary things, mud, thatches, and even branches of leaves, the branches of trees. And this has gone on from this beginning. Human beings have now gone to the point that we are erecting skyscrapers. We are doing amazing things that we call, that is where we live. We have introduced a lot of things into our living. that makes us comfortable. Those who found themselves in North America in particular, because of cold, they came out with an idea, and now they have what we call central heating. Because of the same heat in summer, the central heating also does the cooling. You see, so if you look at how we have traveled, it is simply humanity looking at the challenges that we are facing, and then we realize that whatever we are using now, whatever we are practicing now, is no longer suitable for the level at which we have grown up to. And therefore, we look for newer things. It's just like you growing. You grew up as a child. As you grow, your parents keep on buying things based on your age. There is no one on the earth that the clothing that your mom and dad bought for you the day you were born is still what you are wearing till today. Or till you became an adult that you start taking care of your own life. No. Everything was done based upon the stages of your growth. And so it is with human beings. So human beings, we've traveled when we talk of things, living in houses, living in now ultra-modern houses and all those things. And so it is with our organization. Our organization too has evolved. Initially, human beings were living as just families living in caves and trees. And then as we grew, the population grew. Now we've come even up to the point that we are living in cities, and even we are connected remotely with each other across continents. And so if you look at human existence, we have evolved up to a point that we are moving to higher level. And all these things came about as a result of people becoming aware that current systems are no longer working, and therefore there is the need for newer systems. And if you look at, in terms of, especially when you look at architecture, if you look at what we use for our developing our where we live, what we call homes and buildings, all comes as a result of people using what they have locally and keep on evolving and developing it. You see. And so when you look at all these things, there is the need that as a group of people, Africans, and I'm using Ghana as an example, we have to become awakened to the fact that life is a continuous affair, and everything keeps changing. And if you don't change according to how life is changing, life is evolving, you will remain stagnant or you will not grow. And so when you look at our system, we are looking for improvement in the life of the ordinary people, not those who can afford, not those who have enough, not those who normally goes into government positions that they are able to get whatever they want through how they make it, you say. But we are talking about the general living condition of every human being. And because we are now connected with each other, we are even being affected by what is happening outside. Today, let any new invention drop on the grounds on the streets of America, Canada, UK, or anywhere. It will be in Africa within minutes or seconds by the work or through the mediums of social media, through Facebook, YouTube, and you say. So we are moving very fast. And those who are not moving along this trajectory will always be behind. And so now, even if you look at our interconnectivity through human activities, we have become ones. And there was the creation of what we call the United Nations. And out of the United Nations, a lot of things have been dealt with, or a lot of changes have been brought into our existence. Things like human rights, and even the acceptable level of human condition that people need to have in every part of the world. These things have been defined. The UNDP Human Living Index is an example. You see, and so all these things comes as a result of people always seeking new things, new changes into their current systems. And so one of the areas that I am going to actually settle on is housing. It is very important and dear to me in the sense that the basic things that every human being needs to have to live a successful life or to be able to exist is one, food, the air we breathe in, and then where you sleep. You see, if you have these three things, life can go on. All other things could be taken as luxuries. The luxury too is necessary, but if you don't have the basics, you cannot get the luxury on top of it, you see. And so when you look at Africa, especially if you take Africa, everywhere in Africa, about 70 to 80% of the population are living in dilapidated houses. It's a fact. If you take the whole Africa, about 90% of our population are living in disorganized towns and cities. Even the big towns and this thing that we call them cities, about 90% of those cities are disorganized. They are disorganized. They are not properly arranged. And when you talk of amenities, common things that are supposed to be at the disposal of city dwellers are non-existent. Like free-flowing water. There is no water. Telecommunication and all those things. But telecommunication, thank God, now we have social media, mobile phones, so we don't have to think about that. But some basic things that needs to be at the disposal of the people are not there. You see, so this is the time that we have to begin to think and see how best we can revive or use whatever we have in a great way to make more progress and to improve the living condition of the people. I am not talking about people who can afford to buy lands and plots of land and put up mansions, but I'm talking about the ordinary people that don't have that luxury, but they are caught up in the complexity of the stage of our evolution. The city dwelling has brought about the influx of people into the city. And one of the greatest challenges is homelessness. And in Africa, it's not even homelessness, but it's about the nature and the living condition of the majority of the people in the suburbs, in the cities. We don't have to sit down and look at this thing to go on. And then when you go to the towns, if you go to the villages, life over there is simply a little bit, just one step ahead of the rodents who are living in their caves. Some of the structures that Africans live in their towns and villages are not even up to a certain level that could be even considered on the UNDP's Human Living Index. It cannot. And so what are we doing? You see, and that is why human beings in our journey, our leadership too has evolved. And now today, if you go to Ghana, if you go to Nigeria, if you go to Uganda, if you go to South Africa, we don't normally identify ourselves, especially when it comes to our dealings with foreigners. We don't identify ourselves as tribe members, but we identify ourselves as nationals or citizens of nations. And so that also tells us that our evolution of living on tribal basis is now over. And therefore, our current level of living is living as a nation. And so the development of a nation must be looked at conclusively or across board. And how to bring this development in such a way that whoever finds himself or herself anywhere, at least will have access to basic things that makes life easy, is what we are talking about. And so when we talk of housing, Africans, if you look at what we are in terms of housing, and you compare African situation to those of us in the West, Africans have even the best option. Regardless of the nature of the structure any man or woman is living on in Africa, the person owns it. and there is no debt on it. You gather your money, you buy it, and then you begin to develop it to the level that you could afford. But in the West, we have what we call the mortgage system. So you go for a loan. The bank gives you a loan. You use it to buy the plot of land, and then you become a slave to the bank. You have to pay the mortgage till the time that you pay it off with interest. So it takes people 10, 15, 25 years to pay off one single place to live. You see? And so when you look at the African system, and if we are really awakened to what we call emerging trends, new trends, then this is opportunity for Africans to come up with a system that the whole world can copy. And as I've always been saying, if I'm in the seat of the president of Ghana, His Excellency John Mahama, this is what I would do. I will bring out a housing scheme. And this housing scheme is going to be a partnership between the citizens and the government. Since everyone already owns a plot of land, or even if you don't have it, we must find a way to help you to own, at least to have a plot of land. That becomes the beginning. And then we find a way to help every individual to develop his plot of land to the structure to a certain level based on the nationally accepted standard that we want to create. And these buildings must not be bricks, or it must not be blocks with cement necessarily. And it must not be this kind of fancy things. But we're going to use our local technology. We're going to use the locally designed houses like this at Takwame. Now with our advancement in design, with our advancement in all these kind of things, we can come up with new designs of the Atakwame houses with a little bit of improvement, and also look at how ways and means to make it more durable, and come up with systems or designs of houses all over the country, such that those who cannot afford the cement, the block and mortar, they will go on with the Atapami, or even simple bricks with gravels, and we will do this in a way that the houses will be maintained over and over. It could remain for years. If we do this, we'll be able to support every individual to have a decent accommodation. And as we do this, we bring in the right drainage system, such that instead of people going out to a common place to queue, to line up for KVIP, they will rather have water closet in their homes. And we'll have a way to drain it. We'll have tankers that when it is up, they will come and drain it and go and dispose it somewhere safely. We can organize our houses, our communities into a modern state without using any high or expensive, sophisticated things, but taking what we have right now and improve upon it. And this is even the time that we have to, research into this, how to make our houses based on the living condition, based on the conditions that we have. Africa is already hot. So there must be a way that we have to look for ways to, cool our houses. This system can actually help us to do that. Because if you have a way that the heat is not passing through the walls, then you have a solution to that. You only have to think of what is coming from top. If you look at the dust that is covering every house around in our towns and cities, this is the time that we have to come up with a steady distance, come up with a technology such that we will become the leaders in dealing with this kind of situations. This is how every country, every group of people that have a thing that they call it their masters or leaders in that, this is how they've done it. And if we don't know, we can just look at what is happening in Ukraine. The Ukrainians were attacked by Russia, and they were using the Iranian what we call the drones. Today, in the war between Iran and USA is asking Ukraine for know-how. for how to deal with it. They've become masters. USA of all is falling on Ukraine. Can't we also take our current situation, especially with housing? We don't need any sophisticated things to make our cities modern, but we only need critical thinking, quality thinking, and proper planning, such that the government and the citizens comes into partnership. And the partnership agreement is that once you have your plot of land, based on your level of capability, if you can afford the block, you develop it to a certain state, but it has to meet the national standard and the designs that we have, then we help you to finish it. If you don't have it, then we go down to the brick, the brick and then the mortar. You say, we use the brick. If you can afford that, we use the atakwame, but in a beautiful and a wonderful way. If we do this, we're going to have levels of houses and even types of houses that will be well organized, will be all structured, and therefore our cities, our towns, everything will look beautiful. And it is this outlook that the whole world will look on and say that yes, Ghana is a developed nation. So far as the greater percentage of the population are lying in this dilapidated house, living in disorganized houses. If you show any part of Accra, Independence Square and other things, or if you take someone to Abuja and you show the person those big things that they've done in Abuja, and you say Nigeria is developed, Ghana is developed, you are, as a matter of fact, not saying the truth. The development of every nation is determined by the living condition of the ordinary people. And if ordinary people are living in dilapidated houses, there is no any approved government housing scheme helping the ordinary men and women to have a place to live, then we are far behind the evolution of the human race. And even if people aren't doing it, why can't we be the first people to do it? Why can't we be the first people to do it? You see? And so newer things comes as a result of people looking for new solutions. This is where we are. Africa, one of our biggest challenge is the living condition of the people when it comes to housing, and especially how our towns and cities are so disorganized, how our villages are so unstructured. This is the time we have to come up with a solution. And with this, we will be able to develop this type of architecture to the point that it will be something that we can import to the other world. That is a fact. And so to become a leader, to become a world leader in a particular thing, you need to specialize in it, even in business. If you go into banking, for instance, some of the banks, they specialize, they just take one area. Some just take like customer service, and that is their niche. They put all their energies, effort in developing a better customer service strategy. Some also take the branches, the design of the branches. Some also take, they take everything. So every bank in the West has one area that they are leading. You can lead in all areas, and that is how it's supposed to be. If we cannot produce high quality machines, but we are able to come out with better architectural designs using local technology, we can import that to other world. You see, and so this is the time. Whatever is happening, wherever we are at any stage, new things must come because we are moving. And those who look at the current system and create newer things, their things becomes the emerging trends or the new way of going or the new way of living. And so the living condition of the ordinary people is all we are talking about. I am not interested in whatever any government is doing at a higher level or whatever. All that every government is doing must come down to the point of improving the living condition of their people. As it is now, if you take Ghana for instance, Accra is one of the most disorganized places. If you go to Ghana, Accra, there is no proper drainage system. People are just building anyhow. And now what we have is this tanker business. People taking water from untreated areas and come and sell to city dwellers. If you go to houses, you have this, what we call it, big mountains of gallons that they are using as their water reserve. This is not needed. With proper planning, we can have proper drainage system such that water will flow into people's houses, and these gallons, these things will be taken out of our houses so that our community will look decent, beautiful. And as we do this water drainage and this thing, it becomes a source of employment for other people too. These things used to exist. Even in the colonial time, they used to exist. But today, of our kind, our level, we are not doing that, you see. If you go to villages, if you go to towns, people are still going to toilet in the one common place. And then this thing is blowing fuse all through the town. What kind of living is this? You see, human beings have moved beyond that. And so we need to look at this situation and not just look at it and ask ourselves, how can we make the best out of it? Development is making the most of what you have right now. And therefore, if we look at our current situation and then we begin to think of how to put up local structures, locally designed structures, but fusing the current trends like water closet and other things. Every house will have a water closet. Then the drainage is linked to house to house to house. Then we get a better place. People will have comfort to live in their homes. Water will be flowing into their people's house easily. This can be done if only we put our minds on. We want to use it. And so with the partnership agreement, as we stretch it and we do these houses, the government helps every individual to get a decent place to live. Then every individual in his or her home pay a tax to the government for the development and other redevelopment of other areas, such that our societies, our communities will be well organized. It may look a daunting task, but if you don't take on the daunting task, you will never achieve any enduring success. The greater the difficulty, the higher the achievement, you see. And so the dream and the determination is to bring about the improvement in the quality of life of the ordinary Ghanaian, the ordinary African. And we don't need any expensive things to get to this stage. We only need quality thinking and the application of what we already have. The locally designed Atapami houses can be looked at it in a different way with modern design and architectural expertise to come up with houses that men and women will travel from all over the world to come and look at it and admire it. That is a fact, and that is what we need to do. And when we do that, it will become as emerging trend, a new trend that all other people will come and learn and go and do it in their places. Then we become the leaders in that. And so that is just one area, but the housing is so dear to my heart. Because if you look at what is happening in Africa, especially outside, if in the cities, in the city suburbs, and outside the city towns and villages, people's living condition is far, far, far below what is acceptable internationally. And if we are only interested in doing things that we can showcase to the world by leaving the people to wallow in this underdeveloped state, then we are not doing the right thing. So let us do the right thing. Together, we can create a system, a housing scheme, a housing system, such that we can uplift our even locally made architectural designs. That is my message for you. And a word to a wise is enough. This is the time that we have to come up and team up and let us help one another. Now, before I sign off, I just want to make this appeal to you. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please click on the subscribe button. And as you subscribe, also circulate the messages in your network. Let us come together and team up and make Ghana and Africa great. Also, if you are in the GTA area and you want to be part of this project physically, please leave a note in the comment section and I'll get to you from that side. Either way, or wherever you want to help or you want to be part of this movement, leave a comment and we will connect with you. Thank you and God bless you.